The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he was in 6th century Arabia, right? So more than 14 and a half centuries ago, right?
Yeah.
He was somebody who couldn't read or write. He didn't have any technology. He didn't have any ultra scans or telescopes. He wasn't a philosopher or any of that, right? And it is he who created the night and the day and the sun and the moon and all heavenly bodies. In an orbit are they swimming. So now think about this, right? The fact that all the heavenly bodies, all the planets, all the moons, even the sun, like it mentions the sun, has an orbit, was something that was not known to the people of the time.
Yeah.
Even recently, scientists felt that the sun doesn't have an orbit. The moon and the sun and the earth go around the sun, according to scientists, but the sun doesn't. But recently they said, you know, with all the Hubble telescopes, we figured out that the sun has an orbit, but it's a very slow orbit. You can't observe it, right?
Yeah.
So how would the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, have known that in the desert, in Arabia, when he couldn't even read or write? Surah Mu'minun, 14th verse. It says, and then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and then we made the clot into a lump, and then we made from the lump bones, and then we covered the bones with flesh and developed him into another creature, right?
As far as it is known from the history of embryology, little was known about the staging and classification of human embryos until the 20th century. For this reason, the descriptions of the human embryo in the Quran cannot be based on scientific knowledge in the 7th century. The only reasonable conclusion is that these descriptions were revealed to Muhammad from God. He could not have known such details because he was an illiterate man with absolutely no scientific training.
Yeah.
So when you look at the sperm and the cell, like the egg comes together, the fact that it becomes a clot that clings to the side of the womb, the Arabs didn't know that. They didn't have ultrasound. They weren't sitting there with MRI machines, right? And then it becomes flesh, and then bones shape first, and then the muscles, the flesh around the bone grow. This is something we've only recently figured out. So how could the Prophet have known that, right? You can't see inside, right? Makes sense. You can't keep guessing and getting it right every time, right? So let's go to the 24th. 24, 40. Or they are like in the darknesses within the unfathomable sea, which is covered by waves upon which there are waves, right? So the sea has a darkness that is so dark. Like right now it's broad daylight. You see that? That's the sea, I'm assuming, ocean, right? Now, we can see everything on top. But if you keep going into the depth, it becomes pitch black, right? Where it's broad daylight up here, but it's absolutely dark down there. How could he have known that? He didn't go deep